What's up, guys? This is YGO Silence coming at you with another deck profile. Now today I'm very excited to bring you guys my Armageddon Oblivion ritual deck profile. This is a new deck that came out in Cybernetic Horizon. Brings a lot of good, strong support to an old, very fun archetype or I guess group of cards, and that's the Ruin Queen of Oblivion and Demise King of Armageddon ritual monsters. These did see a little bit of competitive play back in the old days, Demise did, and really the new support, I guess, enhances their level of play and brings them kind of up into the modern age. Some of the stuff this deck can do is actually really exciting. This is not a meta deck or anything like that, but I do think its ability to really just wipe the board out of nowhere and protect some very big, very powerful ritual monsters is very, very strong. And then also, and this surprised me a lot, this deck has a great resource game. One Ash, two Interruptions really doesn't matter all that much to this deck because you're still dropping some big monsters on board. You're still wiping the board. You're still protected from card effects more often than not. It's very hard to stop this deck from doing what it wants to do. So anyway, guys, with that being said, let's get right into this video. Alright guys, starting off with the main deck, we're going to go over the big boss monsters that this deck has access to. They're really, really strong, have great protection effects, and put a lot of pressure on your opponent. But starting off, we have 3 Demise Supreme King of Armageddon. Alright, this card allows you to pay 2,000 life points and wipe the board other than this card, which is very, very strong in any deck. But also, it allows you to give all of your ritual monsters generic battle protection, which is pretty solid in this meta. It allows you to just protect yourself from certain cards that would just run over your monsters and really not worry about card effects. The next card we have is 3 Ruin. Ruin Supreme Queen of Oblivion is kind of like the other side of the coin to Demise. She protects against card effects, and then also instead of using card effect damage or card effect removal, Ruin Supreme Queen of Oblivion, when it's ritual summoned using only ritual monsters as tribute, it can attack twice. So pretty much they work very well hand in hand together, and your ideal board anytime playing this deck is to get both Demise and Ruin out turn 2. That way you can try to OTK because as a general rule, Demise plus Ruin is a 1-turn kill every time, and I'll show you that combo later. But it's very, very strong. And then also, you may think running this many big boss monsters in a deck would be kind of bricky. Not really. I've never had an issue. They allow you to ritual summon off using them as a material. They're just very, very strong. You just want to see them as much as possible. Next, I run 2 Demise King of Armageddon and 1 Ruin Queen of Oblivion. These are your pre-prep targets, and then also some of the stuff like Cycle of the World uses the OG ritual monsters to allow you to push for resources and stuff. So it's very strong, and you have to run these cards. In my opinion, Demise King of Armageddon is much better than Ruin Queen of Oblivion. However, Ruin does have her uses at times, so that's why I run her. But if you really wanted to, you could just run 3 Demise. It's not that big of a deal. And then finally, we run 3 Demise Agent of Armageddon and 1 Ruin Angel of Oblivion. So in this case, Demise is much better than Ruin, and I almost did not run Ruin. So Demise, when it's ritual summoned, it can destroy 1 face-up monster on the field, which is like a mini big Demise effect. And then Ruin, when it's ritual summoned, it can attack monsters twice, which frankly is not that good since it only has 1700 attack. But also, Demise, when it's sent to the graveyard, you could target 1 face-up ritual monster you control, and then your opponent cannot respond to its activated effect. So usually you're going to send it to ritual summon a big Demise, and then you target a big Demise, and then your opponent can't respond to its board wipe effect, which is very, very strong. And then Ruin, when it's sent to the graveyard, your opponent cannot respond to a certain ritual monster's attacks, which is kind of nice. It means you don't have to worry about Mirror Force, but frankly, who plays Mirror Force? So, just as a general rule, I think Ruin is not quite as good as Demise, but you should run at least 1 copy of Ruin. Next, I run 3 Benton. Benton is incredible. It allows you effectively to access your entire deck, because what it does is, if this card is tributed, you could add one light fairy type monster from your deck to your hand. One of the cards you can search is Manju, and Manju searches any ritual spell and any ritual monster. So Benton allows you access to your entire deck. It also allows you access to any of the Ruin ritual monsters. It's just an incredible card. It's a 6. This 6 plus one of the 4s, one of the lower level ones, is a 10. So it gets you access to your big ritual monsters. Just an incredible card. And finally, it's not once per turn. So, I mean, it just keeps getting better and better from there. So that was all of our ritual monsters. Going off into the regular just support monsters. 3 Manju, you guys know what it does. It's your only normal summon. 3 Kandal and 3 Talismandra. These new incantation cards are just incredible for ritual monsters. It's a 6 and a 4, so that's a 10. It allows you to get access to your big ritual monsters very easily. And then just having access to any ritual spell or any ritual monster is just incredible. It allows you to plus very hard on your plays. So I would highly, highly recommend playing these cards. Starting off with the ritual spells, the cards that really make this deck go, you're definitely going to want to start off with running 3 End of the World. This card really is just excellent at 3. It's not once per turn, and it also allows you to use monsters both in your hand and on your field. So it's just very generic, very strong for this deck, so you should definitely want to run 3. Next, 2 Cycle of the World. So you only want to run 2 Cycle of the World because it is once per turn, and then also it's somewhat situational because you have to use monsters on your field. It does have a really good effect. The reason you really like running this card is it has a recycling effect, allowing you to shuffle it into the deck to search an End of the World from your deck, and then add a Ruin Queen of Oblivion or Demise King of Armageddon from your graveyard to your hand. That's only the OG ones. So you definitely want to run 2 Cycle of the World. And then finally, the last ritual spell, quote-unquote, is Turning of the World. So this isn't technically a ritual spell because it is a quick play, but it functions pretty much just like a ritual spell. You have to tribute monsters from your hand only, and it allows you to summon a Demise King of Armageddon or a Ruin Queen of Oblivion directly from your deck. So it's very, very strong in that regard, so you definitely want to run 2 of it. So that is all the ritual spells you're going to run. You're also going to run some just generic ritual support. I like to run 3 pre-prep. And this one's a little up in the air for me. Pre-prep is just such a staple in any ritual deck, especially, because this deck just functions heavily on all the Demise OG cards and the Ruin OG cards that really let you search this. So pre-prep is good at 3. Every once in a while, you'll draw 2 of it, and because it's not once per turn, it kind of sucks. But hey, it's a risk you're going to have to take because this card is excellent. And then finally, you're going to want to run 3 pre-preparation of rights. This card is excellent. You could search Benton, you could search any of the lower level Demise or Ruin cards, the 4s, and it's just really, really strong. Because preparation searches Benton, you could use preparation, search Benton, ritual summon using Benton, and then Benton can search any of the Ruin cards or Manju, normal summon Manju because it's your only normal summon. So preparation effectively gets you access to any ritual spell or monster in your deck, so it's excellent. You should run it at 3. It also lets you recycle your ritual spells, usually End of the World. And then finally, I run 1 Monster Reborn and 1 Renewal of the World. Renewal of the World, it really, really hurts to only run 1 because it is an amazing piece of ritual support. Do not get me wrong, it's just incredible. But the thing is, this deck is generally a go second deck. It's very OTK based, and trap cards and OTK decks really don't get along. So I really like running the 1. It comes in handy whenever I draw it, but I ran 2 for a while, and I would draw on both sometimes, and it just hurt my plays too much. So only run 1 Renewal of the World. But anyway, that's our main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. Alright guys, starting off with the extra deck, I quickly want to say this is a ritual archetype that really doesn't go into the extra deck all that much. So it's very generic, you have a lot of room to work with. This is pretty much up to you, however you want it. But anyway, starting off, I run 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Gaga Cowboy, 1 Utopia, Utopia the Lightning, And then a card that I go into a lot is actually Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. This is because Ruin, the big one, and Demise, the big one, are both 10s. So you use them, attack, do as much damage as you can, and then go into Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. You do it a lot because the thing is, if you don't use all ritual monsters to summon Ruin, she can only do one attack. So 3k plus 29 is only 59. So you're about 2100 short. But if you use Demise's destruction effect, you get 200 points of damage. So that's 61. And then this is 2k. So that's exactly 81, just a little bit over what you need for game. So it's a very good card, and you actually use it a lot. Then we do run a Reaper's engine in here. Because again, you don't have a whole lot of space or stuff you're using in your extra deck. So I like Reapers a lot. But Dante, Toad, Isolde, Kagari, Electromite, Firewall, ABC Buster, Makaba, Crystal Wing, and then Omega. So this is my lineup. You could change it however you want. If I'm missing something, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But this is generally where I go when it comes to Reaper's targets. But anyway, guys, that is our extra. Let's move on to the side. Alright guys, starting off with the side deck, I quickly want to say, and I always say this, the side deck is up to your personal preference. Whatever you want in there, you need to put in there. But at the same time, I do think this is a pretty solid side. This deck is extremely easy to side for and side with, because there's a lot of fat you could trim to put counters in, because this deck is really consistent actually in summoning out these big ritual monsters. So I do like that. Taking out, like 7-8 cards really doesn't hurt the consistency all that much. So it's a great deck in that regard. But starting off, we're going to go into the hand trap lineup. Of course, you need to run 3 Reapers. Reapers are a great hand trap, and in my opinion, they're one of the best in the game. Because the thing about Reapers, compared to like Droll or Ash, Droll or Ash ends a turn, Reapers ends a game. Because if you hit like, Isolde, Electromite, those types of cards, your opponent's not doing anything. It's pretty much game there. So it's just a great card to kind of, if you get it off, it's game over. And then I run 2 Droll, 2 Ash. Those are your hand traps. It's a pretty solid lineup. You don't need to run any more than that. I think it's pretty generic, pretty strong. Next, I run 2 Sphere Mode. So, like I said, you don't use your normal summon a whole lot. It's just Manju. So, Sphere Mode is an excellent card. It's oddly enough also a 10. So, if you want to use it as ritual material, you can. It's just a good card in this deck. If you want to try to make room for a 3rd, you should. It's just a great way to break boards, and you really don't want to be playing into, a board, a Goki board. You just don't want to deal with that with this deck. And then finally, 3 Hate Trunade. This deck doesn't like back row. So this is great for the Sky Striker matchup, number 1. And then number 2, it just helps deal with back row, so you could kind of get rid of some of those, like those T tributes, all that type of thing, before you start making your plays. So Hate Trunade is a strong card. Then finally, 3 Red Reboot. Don't like back row. Great against a lot of decks. It stops a turn. Pretty much gives you free reign for one, go at them. And so with this deck, if you have free reign for 1 turn, more often than not, you're going to kill them. So Red Reboot, Hate Trunade, great cards. If you wanted to trim the fat and get one more Sphere Mode, like if at your locals everybody plays Goki, take out a Hate Trunade, but leave the Red Reboot in there. But anyway, guys, that is the side. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.